So today's tutorial is going to be on how to perfect the scrunch method when you're tie-dyeing. You really only need two things for this. I use kite string and then just scissors, but you could use rubber bands, but I personally find it easier and a better result when you use the kite string. Okay, so with the scrunch, you can do it a lot of different ways. What I mean by that is when you go to scrunch, the higher up the scrunches, the deeper the folds will kind of look. Whereas, and like the more sort of contrast you'll have. Whereas if you do little scrunches, you won't have those big like folds. So I kind of like to do something in the middle of those two. So you can just start wherever you want to start. I usually just pick the middle. And what you want to do is you want to scrunch. So you get your hands, and you just go like that. And you just do that for the entire shirt. You want to try to make them as uniform as possible. You don't just want to go like that. See how that's kind of a mess, whereas this looks even? So I kind of just go like this, and you can just creep your fingers up. The smaller and the more like packed the scrunches, the more detailed it'll look. It'll be harder at the collar because it's thicker, but you don't really have to worry too much. Some people go in with tweezers and just kind of tighten up these folds if you want even more detail in there. Tweezers are especially helpful if, like, say I go like this and I'm like, oh, that fold is too big, I don't like that. You can just go in with the tweezers and kind of break it apart and make it smaller. So just continue doing that with the rest of the shirt, trying to make them all the same height and all kind of uniform. Okay, so I finished scrunching it up, and here's what it should look like when you're done. Really tight folds in there, you know, not super loose, and really uniform, like they all look kind of the same height, all that good stuff. So now we're going to tie it up. So once again, I'm going to show you how to tie this up using kite string instead of rubber bands. I find that it's easier to use the string. When you use rubber bands, when you put them around, it kind of flips up on itself if you're not careful. So I definitely think it's easier this way. Before you start tying, you're going to want to squish it together as tight as you can before you put the string around. This is just going to compress it and make it neater and easier for you when you go to tie it up. So now I'm going to go in with the kite string. I'm going to go under the shirt and leave a little tail. We're going to tie it off with that tail later. So under the shirt, and then bring it over, under again, and then I put my hand on top, which just helps it stay in place, and I pull it tight as I can get it without it, you know, flipping up on itself. So now we're going to do the same thing again. So from there, we're going to go over the shirt, slide it under, put your hand on to hold it in place, and pull. Make sure in between your pulls, you're re-scrunching anything that kind of got undone. And then just do the same thing for the rest of the shirt. So over, pull it under, and pull tight. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to go all the way down the shirt and then up
and then back down and meet where I started so that I can tie the ends off with that tail we left. So I will speed this up and meet you at the end. When you're done tying, it should be compact enough that you can pick it up like this and nothing falls apart.
So now we're going to dye it. Today I'm going to use rainbow colors, but you can do this with whatever colors you'd like. It tends to look better, in my opinion, when you use a bunch of different colors. So for the colors I'm using, they're all from Dharma Trading, which I will link below. I'm using Hot Hibiscus, Deep Orange, Lemon Yellow, Electric Green, Turquoise, Sea Glass, Deep Purple, and Raven Black. So, as far as dye placement goes, you could do straight lines, you could do diagonal lines. It all just makes it a bit different. I personally like to do diagonal lines. You can even do like wacky, wiggly lines, and it'll all give you a different effect. So I like to start in the middle. I think I'm going to do diagonal. So just lay it on like that. And you want to make sure that you have full saturation, so I like to press it in like this. Okay. Next color. So I'm just going to go all the way up with the rainbow on both sides, and then I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so once you dye up the front, you want to flip it around and do the exact same thing on the other side, trying the best you can to line up the colors. So once you do that, now we're going to put black on top. And don't worry, you won't really see the black. It just gives it a cool depth effect that I really like, and I think it adds good dimension. So another tip that I do is I get a paper towel and I just dab up any excess, because again, it just helps with that nice contrast that you see in the final result. Okay. So now, with the black, you could either just take your bottle and just, you know, like go across a little black. But what I like to do is I put a little on a paper plate and I get a paintbrush and I just put a layer of black just on top. This way is kind of better so that you don't accidentally put too much and then you lose some of your color. And you want to do this on both sides as well. Okay. So now you want to let this sit for 24 to 48 hours. Remember, the longer you let it sit, the brighter it will be, so be patient. And then I will show you the result when it's done.
Okay guys, so after I washed it out, here's how it came out. Scrunch is a pretty basic skill in tie-dyeing, but it's one you definitely want to practice because you can use it in the background of pretty much any design, and it's a really good one to know.